Hello and welcome to Rarely Rad, episode 24. Is in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
It's Isabel's first pod recording up in New York.
Yeah.
First and last in this Airbnb.
And this Airbnb has been interesting. The Airbnb itself is so nice and it's pretty big, like 1,000 square feet, 1,100 square feet, which is big for New York. It's in a dicier part of town. My block is fine. The blocks behind me are great. 3 blocks away from me, I was scared. Past the grocery store, I was in my head, I was like, Austin's like, "Oh, let's go into this bar." And I was like, "I am never entering any of these bars." The bar across from me is called Swings, and there's like a plastic swing hanging from the ceiling that I'm pretty sure like you can't even sit on. I don't know. I didn't go in there.
I
Um,
just liked when you texted me and you were like, yeah, it's pretty okay, but you can't pass the Applebee's.
yeah, I mean that was basically it's like the grocery store and the Applebee's is like the border.
And you're like,
And it's
and
crazy
that's
because
it.
one block north, like literally the next block north, just brownstones. Like if I would have just walked up there, it would have been fine. But I was like, this is uncomfortable. And I've never been in a situation like that. So this area, you know how you see like ghetto areas on TV and like you don't really think it's actually like that? It is like that. I thought
Yeah.
that was like for dramatics, whatever the word is. No, it is like that in New York.
You like living in a not like Charlotte's not a real city.
It's so new and so clean. Like the buildings in Charlotte are what, 10 years old? I'm not used to this. And before Charlotte, I was in Oviedo, which is a safe area.
Oviedo's not a city, so yeah.
A town. I mean, and the high school we went to, the nice cars were all student cars. You could tell the difference between the teacher parking lot and the student parking lot. I've just been in a bubble of, I don't know what the word is, safety, discomfort. And I
Yeah.
guess I'm well traveled too, so it's kind of like this was a shock for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like where you've traveled to, like, usually when you're traveling, you're in touristy areas for the
Yeah.
most part. Like, I'll never forget one of the first times I went to New Orleans, like, obviously, most people are on Bourbon Street, but off of Bourbon Street, you can see oh, his last name's Armstrong. I always mess it up, and it's either, like, Neil or Lance, but one's a biker, and it's not the
Neil
biker.
is the biker.
Okay, so I think it's Lance Armstrong then. There's this big lit
Wait,
up
I think he's the guy that went to the moon, right?
okay, it's a different Armstrong, but it's something in New Orleans. And like you can see it from Bourbon Street and but it's like off down one of the alleys and it always brings tourists over there because it's like, "Whoa, what's over there?" It's not safe over there. It's like tons of homeless. That's where people get like mugs and everything. But because it attracts people over there because it's like this bright statue looking thing and you're drunk and you're like, what is that? I want to go see it. No, you can't go see it. And luckily, the first time I went to New Orleans, someone I was with like had been before, or we were near like
Okay,
someone.
quick interruption.
Yeah.
It's neither Lance nor Neil. Neil is the astronaut and Lance is the
So which one
cyclist.
is it?
Neither.
Okay, but like you didn't look up.
Armstrong singer?
I think it is a singer. Or
Louis Armstrong.
yeah. Yep, that
Oh,
guy.
man. I hate it here.
Smart girls. But yeah, and they were like, no, don't go over there, don't go over there. And so now I know that that's not safe. And I luckily learned that. So there's like those areas in many cities, but I feel like we usually avoid those. And unfortunately, you just accidentally lived in one.
Well, also, when you're drunk, I probably wouldn't care. I'd be like, oh, whatever. I was stone cold sober. And then this lady went to hit me and spat at me and called me a bitch. And I was wearing sunglasses. She didn't even know that I was looking at her. And I was like, Austin, let's get a block away. I was like, I feel uncomfortable. And I already felt uncomfortable just taking Ari out during the day, not because of safety issues at that point. Like, I didn't feel unsafe. I just could tell that I was not welcome. They didn't want me there. Some people were nice and being like, "Oh, welcome to the neighborhood," but the grass area, there's like 20 people. They all sit on the stoop, and the building is a little rougher. There's a bunch of like eviction notices on the building, and that's the nearest grass area, so that's where I take the dog out. They did not want me there. Like they were giving me, I mean, I know I wasn't welcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I already felt uncomfortable just doing that, but I was kind of like, whatever. Like I'm not doing any harm. I'm picking up the dog poop. Like whatever. But then that lady, that was the last straw for me. And also, so my co-star said, "Tell a white lie" yesterday. So this is how I'm Airbnb, don't listen to this. Yesterday morning at like 4 a.m., Aria like spazzed in her sleep and accidentally like punched me or scratched me like on my eyelid. So it was obviously a very fresh cut. And so I was called Airbnb and I was like, this lady hit me and I have a mark to prove it. Because I was not going to stay there any longer. And they're like, have you filed a police report? Like, first of all, if somebody hits you and runs off, what are you going to do? File it? Like, you can't file a police report anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I was like, I can send you a picture if you want. And they're like, yeah, that would be fine.
So you send them the photo?
Yeah, I took a picture, rubbed it to make it a little redder, and then sent it a picture.
And then
And
you got
they
it.
were like, oh, ma'am, like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, thank goodness. You know? And they're like, have you talked to your Airbnb host? And I was like, no, I literally just got back. I was just feeling uncomfortable, which was true. And they're like, okay, well, we need to call the Airbnb host. And I was like, do I need to message her to give her a heads up that this is the situation? Because they're like, so it's up to her if she wants to terminate the contract. If she doesn't want to, and I decided to move out, I would have lost thousands of dollars. And obviously I would have just sucked it up and just stayed in a bubble. She was nice enough to she only charged me for the days I was there, and I was going to be there for 7 more weeks.
Wow.
I know. And then, okay, so this is the thing. I had been Googling, is this area safe? And they're like, yeah, it was rough 20 years ago. It's definitely gone a lot better. It's in the process of really getting to a spot, which I can see that on my block. There's a lot of new buildings that people are moving into. But they weren't talking about the other part of town. And I was Googling, and this town, neighborhood, whatever you want to call it, the national average for crime is 24% higher than that national average. That's just for like robberies and stuff. For violent crimes, it's 175% higher than the national average. And I was like, I need to go.
It kind of reminds me, when you've been in Atlanta, have you ever really been to Michelle's?
No.
Place? So Michelle lives in a similar-esque area where very up and coming, really nice. Like she lives in a brand new townhome, gorgeous. Lives right across the street from like a park that was actually in like a movie or a TV show. But like, and she's walking distance to the Beltline. And the walk to the Beltline isn't the safest. Like one year we were going to go walk to the Beltline and go watch one of the basketball games that was going on. And there was a murder.
Nice.
And everyone was standing over there. And so, of course, Michelle and I are like, who cares about the basketball game? We're going to the murder. So there we are. The guys, they've already covered him in a tarp, but he was shot on the playground and everything. Like, it was this whole thing. But, like, there's a park just like the one you were kind of describing on the other side of her that you have to walk by where they're always just a bunch of people sitting there. There's some buildings that like they're all just sitting on the stoops and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, we don't walk past there alone when it's dark.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just never experienced anything like that. So I pardon my ignorance. Like it's just I'm sorry, but I'm not used to that. Like if you know Charlotte is a super safe city. It's brand new. We have 10 homeless people in South End and Uptown, like combined. Like we don't have a lot of homeless people in the city area. So I don't know. Just wasn't comfortable. And now we're moving on Saturday, the 3rd, to Kips Bay, which is like right next to Nomad, which actually has one of the lowest crime rates in New York. That was just a coincidence, but I already knew that area was safe, and it's a
Yeah.
little younger, but also I was limited on Airbnbs because I had 2 days to move out. We looked at 2 last night, and I was like, "Okay," it was like 11 PM, and I was like, "Okay, I'll just book this in the morning," and then it was gone the morning, and I woke up at 5:50, and I was like, "How is this gone?" And so then I was like, now I'm even more strapped for time, but Vans is hell because the one we booked, $600 less a month, and I won't have to take the subway to get into the city, and there's a Trader Joe's like 3 blocks up.
Oh, see, everything works out for
Everything
us.
works out because
Literally,
I was having to Instacart because I was not going to that grocery store or the Mr. Carrot next door.
if Arya had never punched him in the eye,
I know. I literally
where
was
would
like,
we be?
I was like, Austin literally was like, "Thank you," and just gave her a kiss on the head.
You would have been like, Austin, you have to punch me in the face.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't have showed up fast enough, you know? Like this had been sitting for a minute and it was like still like you could see the cut.
Oh my lord. Well, great like first week in New York. We're already moving, but
It's honestly
now
for Vans purposes.
it's going up from here.
And I had to pause my gym membership because there's no gyms on ClassPass in this area. So I was like, well, I'm not going to pay $120 a month to not be able to do anything. So I
Yeah.
paused it and now I can be skinny again because I can reactivate it.
See,
I mean,
God,
this was the
here's
move.
to that.
There's a lot going on here for me. This is up.
Oh my God. This past week has been a rough one for me. I've just been down bad. I had a busy week at work. Wasn't feeling well. I had a rash all over my neck. I just and nothing was working out for me really, but now it's Friday. I have a drink. This is gonna be a good weekend. I will say I am going to the Braves game tonight, and my stupid self bought a Braves ticket for yesterday.
That's a me move.
Dude, it was so what had happened was one, my brain has not been fully there this week. I know that. I'm just exhausted. I haven't been feeling well, but I'm pushing through with work. And so it's just been a lot. And so my brain's not fully working. But I looked first on StubHub and I like checked the dates and everything. And so then I next went, because I'll go through several apps. Then I went to TickPick. TickPick's my favorite. TickPick, unlike StubHub, they'll keep up tickets even after a game starts. Like StubHub,
Yeah.
they disappear once. Like if the game starts at 7:20, like 7:20 time stops, you can't see tickets there. TickPick,
Wait,
you can.
is StubHub the one that's like it has green and pink and black? Like that's their little thing.
No, that's not Ticketmaster, not Game Time.
I know that
Ooh, it
one
might
lets you
be.
buy. That one
I,
does let you buy once it started.
whatever it was, TickPick lets you buy ones that started. So I look on StubHub and like there's a cheap ticket on there. And I'm like trying to buy it, but the app was like freezing. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go look on TickPick and see what they're like there. Not realizing TickPick still had the game that was currently occurring listed. So then I'm up there and there's like, I'm only buying one ticket, but it's always cheaper to buy two, whatever. So I'm like looking and looking, and there was these cheap tickets, like very like next to the field. And I'm like, someone must just like want to get rid of these.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy them. I buy two tickets for $12 total. Like they're
Nice.
$6 each. And I'm like, I'm the best person ever. If anyone in our group needs one of these, I'll just literally give it to them for free because like
Yeah.
$6. Go me. I get the transfer of the tickets. I'm like, hell yeah. Nope. It says Thursday. And I was like, oh, no wonder they're so cheap. They were just trying to get any money for these.
Dude,
They're
I had something similar happen to me last week. I was having to host, I guess, coworkers, and we had our partners in town. I had asked somebody to make a reservation, and this was the only reservation that required a deposit. It was $680 for a deposit, and then they take it off the total.
okay.
This girl booked it for the wrong day. They were blowing her up, saying like, "Hey, where is everybody?" Because they blocked off a huge portion of the bar, which New York bars aren't that big, so it was basically half the bar. Not even, it was like 80% of the bar.
Yeah.
They were calling her and she emails me, "Hey, where are you? Why wouldn't you text my personal phone? You're my
Call
coworker. Like,
me.
you if you don't have my phone number, one of our like just text her boss who works in my department. She has my phone number." We lost that almost $700 deposit. I had to call in the middle of I have in a meeting that's really important. I'm got up maybe 6 or 7 times because I'm trying to find now a place to host 20 people on the day of. I asked the admin, I was like, "Hey, like, do you have any recommendations? Like, I don't live in New York, like, I really, you know?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, they're really mad at us, so they're probably not gonna work with us again." And I'm like, I don't, because I was trying to see if they would, like, just let us refund the deposit and use it for today. She ended up being really nice. She wouldn't let us refund the deposit, but she was like, "I'll book you guys again." I was like, "Thank you. I'm so sorry. Like, I know that sucks." But yeah, we just lost an entire
Did your company lose all that money?
yeah.
Wow.
I know. And I was like, we had to sign a contract, which I just forwarded it to my boss. Granted, I probably should have looked at the date that said the 23rd, but he could have also looked at the date. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not taking blame for this.
Luckily for me, I also pulled a white lie. And I DM'd them and or not DM'd, I went to their little customer service thing and I was like, my son had my phone and accidentally bought tickets. Like, I don't know what else to do. We're obviously not going to the game tonight, blah, blah, blah. And they gave me a $13 credit, which is fine. I'm
Yeah,
probably going to use it for my ticket I'll purchase for today. So, really doesn't matter. But I was just like, oh my God, how can I be so dumb sometimes?
dude, with this whole move, we're basically living out of suitcases for the first couple weeks. And I've been like packing nonstop. And I've been packing things like that I am like, I need this to be with me in this moment. You know what I didn't pack? I packed 2 pairs of socks and no bras with straps on them. I only have strapless bras and sports
Bro,
bras. I don't know how I did that. And so
see,
I'm having because I mean, when I'm going on walks, I'm like sitting there in the sink with soap and water, my socks.
I'm disgusted.
What
Just
else am
go
I supposed to do?
buy some damn socks, dude.
I I was poor. I
Socks
ordered
are like
some socks.
$2.
I ordered socks. They're coming in a pack of like 10.
Okay, good.
But, like, I mean, I don't wear socks around the house because I have slippers, and I don't go out that much, but it's been a friggin' struggle, but then also not having a like, thank goodness this strapless bra stays on well, but no straps, I'm like, "What is wrong with me?"
Oh, wait. Okay, I just saw of another white lie that I experienced. I was given the white lie this
Ooh,
past weekend. We are at 30. It's Saturday night, and I'm not drunk. Go me. Mainly because we did rooftop bar hopping,
yeah.
and like each
But
rooftop bar is like $22 drinks. And
mhm.
so it was like, let's get one drink here and one drink there. Oh my God, one of our friends, she got a spicy margarita. It tasted like it was so hot, it was like you're drinking hot sauce. I had one sip, like I did not stop talking about how spicy my mouth was for the next fucking hour. And I was drinking an espresso martini. So basically counteracts that.
Yeah,
No, my whole mouth. I mean, the girl that had it, she drank the whole thing. She was like, I do like spicy, but she was like, holy shit, this is spicy.
yeah.
Literally the whole time we're like, are our lips growing? Does it look like we have lip plumper? We were like, do our lips look better right now? Like, we would not shut up to the entire group because it was so spicy. It was miserable. But anyway, completely different subject. So we're at 30 and there's these two guys and we had seen them earlier at a different bar at Yepa and they had bought these two girls shots at Yepa from across the bar. And so I was
Yeah.
like, you're the two boys that were at Yepa that bought girls shots. And of course they were like, y'all were there? And we are like, yeah. And they were like, where were you guys? And I was like, we were actually like right behind the girls that you guys bought shots for. And they were like, oh, well, if we had seen you guys, we would have bought you guys shots. And we're like, okay, whatever. Don't just shut the fuck up.
Then
Okay.
buy me a
Anyway.
shot right now.
Yeah, I'm like, seriously. But they did buy me a drink. But so one's like this smaller dude, and then one was like this really tall dude, which of course I'm like, hello, tall man. And but the smaller dude was a lot more friendly. and he was like really into one of our friends, and she was not into him. So I was like, okay, I'll distract him. I'll go talk to them. I
Yeah.
find out that they're both out of like Ponte Vedra. Of course, he says Jacksonville, and I'm like, oh, where in Jacksonville? And he's like, well, Ponte Vedra, and I'm like, okay, not really the same.
Not
So most
Jacksonville.
people don't know the same, but whatever. Okay, and I find out that they're both sports recruiters. The small guy recruits for like apparently all sports, like football, baseball, basketball, whatever. I was like, I don't really understand how that works, but interesting. And then the other guy, the tall guy, apparently recruits for the Knicks, like the New York Knicks. He's a
Oh,
recruit.
that's cool.
Yeah, cool. And we're with one of our friends who works for the NFL. So I'm like, oh, he works for the NFL Players Association. I'm like, he probably doesn't like me telling people that because I feel like some people are weird about like, hey, keep my job kind of more on the DL, but whatever.
Do people feel that way?
I feel like some people do. Like if you think about like a CEO of a company and stuff, like they don't want people to like treat them differently because of their job.
Oh, maybe we just have lower level jobs.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like 1000%.
I'm like, oh,
Like
my friend Lauren's in marketing.
like I think like my old company that I worked for, I think like I was very, very close with the CEO and VP of sales. And I think that was because I treated them like normal freaking people. I
yeah,
didn't treat them like you have control of my entire job. No, I was just like, what up, Chandler? We going to the strip club tonight.
yeah.
Type of like whatever. And you're the same way, but I think that's just because we're not very businessy.
I'm like, I'm so unprofessional.
Yeah. I'm like, oops. But so we're like gonna go in a different area away from these guys because like whatever, we're not chilling with them. We have a big enough group. We want to go a different area of the bar.
Yeah.
So I was like, so nice to talk to you guys. We're gonna go over there. If you all see us, like come say hey. What are your names? And so small guy tells me his name, like David, and then tall guy's like Archer, and I'm like, oh, like the comic? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, weird name, but whatever. And I walk back, and we like all go do our own thing. Of course, small guy comes and finds us because he's into our friend. And then tall guy walks up to small guy and is like, and small guy's like, what's up, Michael? What? So I walk over to small guy and I'm like, what did you just call him? And he was like, Michael. And I was like, is that his name? He was like, yeah. And I was like, he told me his name was Archer. And he was like, no, it's not. It's Michael. So of course, I go over to Michael slash Archer. And I'm like, so if your name's Michael, why'd you tell me it was Archer? And he was like, oh, I just like to mess around sometimes.
You
What?
know what? That gives me he has a girlfriend vibes and he doesn't want people to know.
Literally, what? I literally looked at him and said, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, and walked away.
That's
I was
weird.
like,
That's serial killer stuff.
it was one of the weirdest experience ever. And I was just like, who does that? Like, don't get me wrong, I'll mess around and I'll like make up a job or something that I do. And like, but it will be like to someone that like I'm not literally standing in the same bar as.
Also, was he the one that worked for the Knicks?
Yes.
So he probably doesn't do that either.
Well, his friend is the one who told me he worked for the Knicks,
Oh, okay.
not him. So it might be true. I don't
You
know.
hear that?
What is it?
I think it's gunshots.
I heard noise coming from the apartment next to me, but I didn't hear anything coming from your end.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of sirens that goes on.
I can't. Again, it reminds me just like of Michelle's. One time we pulled into Michelle's garage, all of a sudden we heard gunshots, and Michelle was like, so I don't think it's a good time for us to go anywhere right now. I think we should close the garage again. We were like, okay, guess we'll be staying here.
Yikes. Maybe it wasn't gunshots, and maybe I think I'm just paranoid now.
Yeah, probably.
But also,
Ew.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Also, fantasy football league is coming around.
Oh yeah, we need to join that. That was fun last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, we gotta get our studying going. The boys here are putting a league together, and they're still looking for people, but they won't allow me in.
Okay, why are men so weird about that? Men like will not allow women to join. I'm like, what are you possibly talking about? Because like girls are so much more fun than guys. Like,
Yeah.
let's be
Well, and
honest.
they're like, "Well, we want to talk shit," and I was like, "I can talk shit." One of our guy friends was like, "Haley actually like knows what she's doing. Like, she's not gonna be like whatever." And one of the guy's responses was, "That's what I'm worried of." And I was
mean,
like, oh, so you just don't want to get beat by me is your issue. You're
it's not
scared
like
to allow
me.
me in because you think I'm going to beat your ass. I was like, noted. And I was like, well, the offer stands. If you guys still need someone, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
It's like not like me last year was at Lauren's while we were recruiting. What's it called? Picking your team?
Drafting.
Drafting. And I was like, who do I pick for my BK? And they were laughing, and I was like, okay. And then they're like, bench. I was like, oh, what?
Or
I
when
don't even
you
know if
thought
it's BK. It
or
was something like that.
it's not BK, I think it's
Right.
BE. But
Oh.
it's also like when you have Lamar Jackson as your QB and you thought it was LeBron.
Oh, yeah, I was like, "Do I put LeBron Jackson in?" And Austin was like, "LeBron?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's Lamar." I was like, "Oh." He's like, "There's only one LeBron." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." Like,
I know nothing. Yeah, no, they won't let me in their league, and I'm like pretty salty about it. I mean, I do take it as a compliment that they won't let me in because it's because they expect me to be so good. Is
yeah.
how I'm now phrasing it. But like, just let me in.
I know. I need to do some research because honestly, Austin isn't that good at sports. Like, he knows sports, but not like, you know how guys like really know sports? Like,
Mhm.
he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So I don't always just trust his judgment. But
Yeah.
then I texted one of our friends and asked, I was like, wait, why am I asking you? You lose every bet on the planet.
You're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, so our Wi-Fi went out, so I have no idea what we're even saying.
Oops.
I saw this TikTok, you know, where I get all my news.
Yeah.
There's this guy, I think it's Brian, Brion. I think that's Brian. And he's doing this study to prove that you don't actually get addicted to meth, that you can like do it for however long you want and then just quit like cold turkey. So he's in the process of doing meth, taking meth. I don't know what you do with meth. He's going on podcasts like explaining his situation. And then his most recent episode, I think it was with Joe Rogan. Is that his name? Joe Rogan on
Yeah.
a TikTok clip. He was like just like speaking so fast. He's like, yeah, meth is amazing. Like, I don't understand why people aren't on it. My brain is moving 5 million miles an hour. And then he just glitches and he's like, I like to eat, or like just like complete glitch mode. And then Joe Rogan is like, so are you going to quit meth? He's like, no, I'm going to be on this forever. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I was like, yeah, exactly. You can't just quit meth.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually listened to Shannon Ford's probably a podcast, her podcast this week when running, and she's done meth before. She didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
She was in Ibiza, thought she was doing Molly, accidentally did some meth, and she was with 3 other people that also did said meth. And she was like, yeah, we were like, whoa, like that definitely wasn't Molly. What was that? And so she went and got drug tested when they got back to the States. And she was like, but we all had the worst come down the next day. No wonder people get addicted to this stuff. She was like, it was amazing. We had so much fun. We were on such a high. It was awesome. And then the next day fucking sucks. And so I was like, yeah.
Literally the same thing happened to Austin, and he was awake for 3 days. Like, I remember waking up and I was like, have you not gone to bed yet? And he's like, no, I'm still wide awake. Like, I can't do anything. He took like a Xanax to help, you know, come down. Literally 3 nights just straight awake. And he was like, this is so bad. I
Well, I
can't
feel
ever.
like things hit him very hard like that too.
He does. He, like, when I smoke weed, I mean, I feel like I do still get higher than most people, but he gets even higher. Like, even when I was a regular weed smoker, like, I would always just get so high, but he, like, has just a low tolerance with things. Like, I'm just like, what? Like,
Well,
I mean, I gave him a sleeping pill. He slept for 2 days.
I feel like he's similar in a way where like he already is like so high level, like woo 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 woo, that
Yeah.
like then give him like something else, it's just like hits him.
Yeah.
Just, woo 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 more.
Well,
But
people that have high energy like that, if you give them an upper, it actually mellows them down because, or people, at least ADHD. That's why Adderall, when you take Adderall as somebody who actually has ADHD, it just brings you down. Like, I get really mellow. Like, yeah, my brain is super focused, but I'm almost a zombie, just like chilling.
yeah, well, and that's something Shannon was also kind of talking about because like she's like my brain's always like doing 100 different things, and she was like, I'll do Adderall like every once in a while, but she's like, it's recreationally. Like she was like, and I'll take like the tiniest little bit, But she was like, I'm that type of person that if I actually was like prescribed it, she was like, it would completely change who I am as a person and my
Yeah.
personality and everything. And she was like, I don't need it like that. Like I get all my stuff done. I don't need it to focus on things. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
some days I'll take a little bit. But she was like, if I actually like had to be on it, she was like, I would be one of those people that I don't like who I am on it.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm just like, just chill. And also that's the reason I can drink espresso martinis at like 11 p.m.
Yeah. No, I espresso martinis and stuff don't bother me like that. The only thing that gets me high on a caffeine high is like an Alani or a Celsius or something. And then that's when I'm like on another level. Even yesterday, the Alani girls came by the office and so they dropped us off 3 cases of Alani. So we have like, yeah, we have, I don't know how many things are in a case, but like at least
12 probably. Yeah.
No. These are like, I think they're 24 cases.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, no, we have a ton of Alanis and they gave us the Paris Hilton collab one. It's like called Pink Slushy or something. And so I was like, I'll try that. And I swear I literally had a sip and I was like, la, 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 like all over the place. And I was like, I'm that person. Like I smell caffeine and I'm like on another level already. I don't need all of this at all.
See, I just started these protein shakes and they have a cup of coffee in them and it doesn't do anything for me. The only thing it does for me is just increase my heart rate. So I just feel anxious and I'm not any more awake than I would be. And I think I kind of noticed this when we were in Rome because I remember I was having like severe anxiety over when I couldn't find things. And I was like, why am I so tired? Like I drink so many espresso drinks. Like I should be out the wazoo, up flying around the walls, but all it did was just increase my heart rate.
Something I also, again, I've been listening to so many damn podcasts this week from running. Courtney Shields, she has a podcast called Courtside with Courtney, and she had her first ever male guest on, and they were like talking about different relationships and stuff. And she was like, in the end of the day, it's easy to be pretty. It's not easy to be cool. And I was like, that's us. I was like, everyone, and she was like, anyone can be pretty. Like anyone can like be their prettiest version of themselves.
Yeah.
But it's not always easy for someone to be cool.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, a lot of people don't have it.
But I also have realized I never, ever, ever, very rarely lean into my feminine energy. And that is something I think I really need to work on.
Yeah, I think I do give off feminine energy though.
Yeah, I think you do. I don't, like at all. And I don't dress feminine. So I just don't, she was like, you have to like dress like for what you would want, like even want to attract and stuff. And I was like, yeah, so it probably doesn't help that I'm always wearing baseball caps.
Yeah, I never wear hats. I just got into tennis shoes because I would always wear open-toed shoes, and I wear Vejas, which are like the girliest shoe you could wear. And then I wear a black crop top and jeans, and that's like 80% of my outfits. And if I'm wearing a dress, the dress has flowers on it.
Yeah. See, and I'm like the exact opposite. And then I was like, came to this realization, and then I was like, well, shit, like I'm going to this Braves game, and I was 1000% planning on wearing a hat. And like, I get told all the time I look really good in a hat. So I'm like, I know I don't look bad, but I don't think I'm giving off the feminine energy that I should want to give off to find myself a man.
I guess for me, when I just feel like girls wear a hat, I think it's because they have a bad hair day. Like that's what I associate hats with.
Oh, no, I just wear a hat.
No, I know you do, but like sometimes girls will wear hats on calls and I'm like, you just didn't brush your hair.
And then there's just me. No, I mean, I even had a guy tell me last week, he was like, you should wear a hat more often. And I was like, I know I do a lot, but then like I get in a phase where I like constantly wear hats. And he's like, yeah, but you even look good with them on backwards. And I was like, yeah, I kind of know. I'm like kind of aware of this, but like some people really don't like it. Like long-term ex-boyfriend, he hated when I wore a backwards hat. He just like took it as me like being like lesbian-esque. And I was like, no, like I look good like this. And he was like, no, I can't do this. I'm like, well, damn, okay, take it off.
I actually have been told I look good with hats, but I just wear them so irregularly that I just feel like nobody ever sees me with it. Like I think the last time I wore a hat was when I was floating the river.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're like more of a like, I'm at the beach, I'm at the pool, I'll put on a hat girl. You're not like, oh, we're going to the bar, I'll wear a hat.
Yeah. I will barely even do it at the pool. I'm just trying to get into more of the habit of it for sunscreen purposes.
I also realized I don't think I know the difference between bronzing and contouring.
Oh, I don't. I think what I own is a bronzer. I don't think I'm contouring.
I have no idea. Like, so Courtney has her makeup line Dibs, which I love. Like her little stick that has like one side blush, one side bronzer, probably the best makeup tool I've ever used. Not that I know what I'm doing with it, but I think it turns out looking okay. She's now coming out with like a powdered bronzer and contour where like one side is each side and like one side's warmer, one side's cooler. So that makes one side one thing, one side that. And I'm like watching all her stories about this and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't.
So contour is more gray to give it more of a shadow look.
Cooler. Probably the cooler tones.
And then bronzer, but I just use bronzer because I'm like, whatever. I'm not gonna go buy another product that I don't use.
I was just like watching these videos and I was like, yeah, I don't know this stuff at all. Like if you gave me a bronzer and a contour, I would not know which one to do what with.
No, I only know that it's more cool / gray because I saw it somewhere on TikTok where I get, like I said, where I learn everything.
So this past week, I was scrolling in Facebook and this couple got engaged on a golf course. And it just got me thinking, there are so many places that I would rather die than get engaged at them. Golf course, restaurant.
The Jumbotron is no, absolutely not. You propose me on a Jumbotron, I will publicly humiliate you.
A concert? No. No,
I feel like a concert, if the singer is like, hey, so-and-so has something for you, I don't think I wouldn't do it, but I think that's way better than you just kneeling in the middle of a crowd in like the pit.
Yeah, I just think it would be like my worst nightmare.
Have you seen those videos? There's like a whole couple just getting married at a Taylor Swift concert.
No, I've not seen it, but that also sounds awful.
Yeah, this couple, like I said, they were just getting married at a Taylor Swift concert, and then this other lady was like starting to give birth and they had to like rush. She was like, no, I can't leave, and they're like, ma'am.
Today on the way home from my run, Taylor Swift Love Story came on and it was an absolute banger. It just got me thinking, it's so sad how I feel like Swifties have like ruined Taylor Swift for other people.
Yeah, I agree. I love her old stuff. I listen to it very regularly. I kind of stopped after her Red album. I only listened to a couple songs. I didn't really like the album that much. Like the ones I liked, I really liked, but I got just like the people, I mean, you know, the girl we've talked about from high school, like she only played Taylor Swift at her wedding, like spice it up.
Like the Swifties ruin it for all the other normal people.
Yeah.
And it makes me really sad.
Yeah, I hate that for us.
But it was a banger and I was like screaming it on the way home and I was like, today's going to be a fucking good day.
I feel like that is a good karaoke song because you know it's going to get the crowd going.
Oh, for sure. And everyone knows it.
Yeah, because it's especially when they're like, what is it? He nailed to the ground and pulled out a ring. Everybody's like,
yeah, but then all of a sudden, like, especially if you're not a Swiftie and now Swifties are coming over to talk to you after, like, the repercussions of it could be awful.
I guess it depends on the bar to bar. I make it very clear that I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm like, no.
Sorry, not interested.
No thanks. Unless you're buying me a drink and then I can also walk away, I don't want it.
Have you watched any of the Olympics?
No, but I have seen that one Turkish shooter that he just like showed up. He just doesn't even have any of the gear. He just uses like little earplugs that you buy at like Target and doesn't even have the glasses. And he just has his hand in his pocket and is just shooting a target. He got silver. Like, and I think he actually would have gotten gold, but yeah, he was definitely an assassin.
Well, I actually read a whole thing about him. I want to say this morning because I saw a meme about him and it was like, I didn't realize it was a meme on me, but it was like, and that's why I looked it up because it sounded so believable of like,
yeah,
this is how he like got to where he is. Like he shot his wife or so. Like it was like this whole thing. It's not real, but it did sound very believable. And I was like, I have to do some research into this. It's not real at all. He's been training and he's been shooting for a very long time. But I do love that he's just standing there like hand in pocket, like pow pow.
Yeah, he's just vibing. I was like, I want to be that cool.
Yeah, my friends.
It's not easy to be cool, but it's easy to be pretty.
My friends went to the bar super early Sunday morning to watch the first U.S. men's basketball game. And then I think women's play tomorrow morning, which luckily it's women. So hopefully they don't want to do anything for that because it's like at 9 a.m. And I'm like, y'all, I ain't trying to like go watch this early. Like I don't need to start drinking that early. Then my whole day's ruined. That's what happened Saturday or Sunday last week. One, got scammed. Park Tavern, when it's raining, they do dollar beers.
Nice.
I don't drink beer though, so doesn't help me out at all. I'm like, whatever. So I get a high noon, $8. I'm like, this is not fair. Like, you guys got 8 beers for my one high noon. Then I go get another high noon. And that's when I find out they do $10 bottles of champagne. And I was like, so you're telling me I could have gotten an entire bottle of champagne for basically the same price of this one high noon I got. So that's what I did next. And then everyone was like, all right, one more drink and then we'll leave and go to the next place. And I'm like, okay. But in my head, I'm like, I might as well just get a bottle of champagne because it's $10 versus $8. Like, I don't need to finish it all. But I'll just buy it. The woman that brings me up for $28.
For one champagne bottle?
Yes.
Why?
I have no idea.
Did you get the non-$10 brand?
No. Yeah, and I just like was not willing to deal with it, so I was just like, whatever, I'll pay this. But I was just like, what just happened? Like, these have been $10 all day.
Yeah.
And then now, and I went up to a different bar, but like it's still in Park Tavern. So I'm like, I could have probably gone right across that way and they would have charged me $10. But for some reason, this girl charged me $28. I was like, I just got scammed.
I wonder if it's brunch time is over.
I don't know necessarily. My only thought is, though, in the state of Georgia, you can't change alcohol prices.
Right. Same with North Carolina.
So happy hours aren't really a happy hour because the discount's really only on food.
Right.
That's happening, not on alcohol.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm most confused because is that different with a bottle of champagne or like a bottle of wine? Does the law
Sundays are different due to, I don't know what Georgia's like, but North Carolina, you can't go to the liquor store on Sunday. So I wonder if it has something to do with that.
I don't think so. Georgia used to be that way, but they got rid of that rule a few years ago. But yeah, it was so odd. And I was in just such a good mood. I was not willing to fight it. And so I was like,
lucky for them.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to fight that you just charged me 3 times the amount that this should be charged. Pay. Yeah. All money's ever flowing to me.
My only thought is that she maybe rang you up for a different brand and just gave you the other brand, the low budget brand.
No, maybe. Because I looked at the bottle because I still had the first bottle.
Yeah.
And it was the same exact price or the same exact bottle. So
you probably rang you up for the wrong one.
Maybe she just hated me.
That too.
One thing I did have to say about the Olympics that's kind of embarrassing. Why does China have more gold medals than we do?
There's more people. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like being in the US, like we always know we're basically going to win the Olympics. Like that's just kind of, we always have the most medals and we do have the most medals, like by far, but we have less gold medals. And I'm like, come on guys, like get it together.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the fact that our food is so shitty for us. And they probably, if the Chinese maybe have like better food laws than we do, which at this point I wouldn't even be surprised.
They have better skincare.
Yeah. So they probably have better or more strict food laws. Like Skittles in England are super different from Skittles in the US because the sugar rate in the US, they're just like stuffed with sugar.
Also, have you seen this one guy? I honestly don't know what country he's competing for. And I honestly kind of feel like it's the US. That is a child rapist. Have you not seen all this?
No, but I also am not surprised that he plays for the US then. I feel like the other countries are smart enough to let him.
He's literally a convicted felon, or right? I think that it's a felon. When he was 19, he flew and had sex with a 12-year-old.
Wow.
And then flew back the next day. And he is competing in the Olympics.
That's disgusting. Why let this man even near, you know what?
And he's getting special treatment because of it. He's like, obviously he's a convict. So like he can't do anything with anyone else. So like he gets a special room, he gets a special air, like and it's like, why is he even allowed to compete?
Why is he allowed to leave the country?
No one's better at whatever sport he does than he is, who's a rapist. And he's even been on stand. Like he was convicted. Like he said, like, yes, I did it. It was a bad lapse of judgment. She was 12. You were 19.
She's an actual child. She hasn't even hit puberty.
Like, yeah, I'm surprised you haven't seen that. I've seen it all over TikTok. And again, I don't even know like what country he's for or what sport he plays or anything like that. But yeah, I like insane. And then they're all sleeping on these damn cardboard box beds, which I've seen a lot of videos of that. And that's been crazy.
So, yeah. So I actually saw one of the Olympians, I don't know if they were interviewing, it was something like that, but he was an Olympian last year. And he was like, the reason they switched to the cardboard beds is like his team, I can't remember what sport he was playing. It has something to do with water. I don't know. Had the whole he didn't mention what country. He just said it was one of the Scandinavian countries. The female, whatever sport that was, team come over to their place, and they all just had like a giant orgy, and like a bunch of them were married and, in relationship. It was just like a huge thing. That's why he didn't mention the country. And after that, they were like, apparently it's like a giant sex fest over there.
That's insane. I looked it up. He's not for the US. He plays for the Dutch.
Ew.
Yeah. But apparently now, like, I don't know if he plays volleyball, but apparently every time he now comes out, like in the crowd boos him.
I'm not surprised.
Thank goodness. As they should.
Honestly, it's like, it doesn't even matter if there's somebody that isn't better than him.
It's also volleyball.
Yeah.
Like, running's one thing. Like, running's really, really hard to do. Volleyball, like, there's someone else that can play his position.
Yeah, like running it's an individual sport. Yeah, volleyball, you've got a whole team. Just get like the second best person in the world.
Yeah.
Or the country play.
Yeah. Like, you'll be fine. Yeah.
Also, do countries win anything for winning the Olympics, or just the satisfaction of knowing that?
I know individuals win money.
Yeah.
Because I saw something that, like, Simone Biles gold she'll make like $37,000, whereas like this girl in China, her gold was making her like $387,000 or something. Like, it was like insane. It was like they make so much more money than in the US.
I actually saw this thing. So in Japan, it's illegal to smoke under the age of 19 or maybe 20. And this girl who was either 19 or 18, she was an Olympian gymnast. And it was like, this is like right before the week before the Olympics where they're like training, got caught smoking a cigarette and they kicked her off. Yeah. Imagine training your whole life. You're at the Olympics and then you just get caught with a cigarette.
It's like, what? But why be so dumb?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is like, why? Just like go buy one of those nicotine sticks.
Like, why be so dumb? Like, you have your whole life ahead of you to ruin, and you chose it by a cigarette.
Yeah,
Like,
and so now she's kicked off of gymnastics forever. Like, she probably didn't go to, I mean, she might have gone to college, but like, I remember there was a girl that was really good at gymnastics in my sister's grade, and she would only do school for like, I think it was like 6 hours. And then after that had to go do gymnastic practice for 8 hours. Like, they take that stuff really serious.
Oh yeah, no, gymnastics. I've listened to a lot of Simone Biles like interviews, and she was like, yeah, I started when I was like 6, and she was like, that's late for someone to start gymnastics. Like,
yeah,
literally starting at 6 years old is late. And she said she stayed in private or in public school longer than most people, and she stayed in it like through 8th grade. And she was like, but after that, she was like, with practice and everything going on, like, I could not go to a normal school because I needed to like have practice.
That's insane.
Also, do you know how tall she is?
I know she's short. Isn't she like 5'2" or something?
Dude, she's 4'8".
I know gymnastics stunts your height or your growth.
So the video I watched was like a myth or truth video, and one of the questions was like, does gymnastics stunt your height? And she was like, honestly, obviously there's no proof of any of this. She was like, granted, I am the smallest person on our team. And she was like, and I'm only 4'8", which is how I know that she's 4'8". But she was like, who knows if I was ever going to be taller than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that no gymnast is tall is kind of like,
I
think that it's hard to probably do gymnastics if you're tall, so maybe they just quit.
That is my main thought. Like, I kind of think of it like also like back to basketball. Like, growing up, you can all play basketball, but then finally, like, some people grow and some people don't. And unfortunately, like, if Simone Biles had chosen the basketball route versus the gymnastics route, that she probably would not be a professional.
Right.
Because they would have been like, eventually it's like, sorry, girlfriend, you're a little too short for this sport.
She was adopted, right?
That wasn't a question I watched in her Q&A.
I'm pretty sure she's adopted into a white family, but I always think, like, imagine the biological parents of her being like, my child is an Olympian and I have no contact, and like all I have to know is that my child's an Olympian.
So it says she was separated from her mother before the age of 6, but she found a new home after being taken in by Ronald and Nellie Biles, who are her adopted parents.
Yeah.
I don't know. It almost sounds like they were related to her. Like, it wasn't her mom.
Like foster or something.
Yeah, like Ronald is the older of Ronald and Nellie's 2 biological sons. He was followed by their younger son, Simone, and Adria's biological mother, Shannon. Yeah, so it looks like her aunt or her
uncle,
grandma or something adopted her. So not really adopted.
Yeah.
Like, adopted, but not random, like not foster care or anything like that.
Yeah, for some reason I thought she was like just randomly picked up at like a foster home. That would have been wild.
Remember that guy I dated in my senior year of high school? He was already at FSU. He was a swimmer.
Oh, yeah.
He was adopted. He
Yeah, I
was
remember that.
Kenyan, and he was adopted, like, I wanna say as a baby, and they made him a swimmer, and, like, I mean, he almost went to the Olympics and everything. He had qualified for it,
Yeah, he was really good.
and, like, could you imagine, like, just somehow adopted this one kid that is now an Olympian? Like,
Yeah, wild.
that would never be our luck.
No, I'm also just not Olympian material in
No.
general.
I mean, like one of my old coworkers, she never got married, so she adopted a girl, and the girl ended up, turns out the mom, while she was pregnant with the girl she adopted, like was doing meth and stuff. So then the baby has had who's now she's like older than us, like a year or two.
Yeah.
She's had issues her entire life and like went down some really bad paths, like drug
Yeah.
use, and has been to prison and stuff. But a lot of it goes back to like her mom was doing these drugs when she was in the womb.
Yeah, a lot of the times when that happens, like, they're kind of already addicted to the meth at
Yeah.
birth.
Yeah, and it's already been in their bloodstream and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's wrong with us.
Our parents didn't do meth.
They did do it while they were pregnant with us.
You know what? Let me ask that Brian guy.
It makes sense why our brains don't work normal
Exactly. That's why we're going 10 million miles an hour and just like look like idiots.
at all times.
Yeah.
All right, and we are now at an hour. We're gonna get this Friday on a roll. I've already had 1 tequila drink, so tap the party.
Tap. I'm gonna go back to work and yap.
That's all we do these days anyway. All right, bye y'all. We'll talk to you next week.